Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the UN Secretary General's Special Envoy for Financing the Health Millennium Development Goals and for Malaria, and co-chair of the GBCHealth Board of Directors, Mr. Ray Chambers, and Group Managing Director and CEO of Access Bank and co-chair of the GBCHealth Board of Directors, Mr. Aigboje Aig-Imoukhuede.
Good morning, everyone. Let's give another round of applause for the fabulous banjo boys. Who happen to be from New Jersey, my state. We welcome you to the GBCHealth Conference for 2013 with record numbers attending. We want to thank you for what you've done over the years to bring us to this point in time. We're at a point now where we have 959 days to accomplish the Health Millennium Development Goals. A huge hill to climb, but with your help and active participation, in fact, without you, we're not going to get there. You know, we've brought malaria deaths down from a million children a year just 6 years ago to 500,000 today. We couldn't have done it without business ideas, business interventions, and all of your help and advice. So now we have to save the lives of 4.4 million children between now and the end of 2015. Great progress. We started in 1990 with 12 million children dying under the age of 5. We're down to about 7 million. We have to get down to 4 million by the end of 2015. Thus, we have to save 4.4 million children between now and the end of 2015. And similarly with Goal 5, maternal mortality, we started with about 600,000 deaths per year in 1990. We're down to about 250,000, and we must get down to 150,000 by the end of 2015. Diarrhea, pneumonia, malaria, HIV are all the major causes, as well as what happens during the birth of the baby. So we're in the middle of a plan to issue commodities, interventions like ORS zinc for diarrhea, amoxicillin for pneumonia, and so on. We're going to need a lot of help in the supply chain, thinking through how we get these products out. And then we have to launch a major media campaign to create demand, to educate the mom-to-be that she has to get into a prenatal program, supervised birth. And we're going to turn to you for your help. The single biggest aid to get to the goals for 2015 is the maximum replenishment of the Global Fund. This is the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. You're going to hear a lot about the Global Fund over the next 2 days. We're going to be honoring its leader, Mark Dybul, and it's provided the bulk of the funding for malaria, AIDS, and TB, and then the support from that funding has enabled us to deal with the other maladies that have unfortunately killed so many children. And we really need your help in thinking through how do we optimize the replenishment of the Global Fund. They're seeking $15 billion over the next 3 years, and we've been working with Mark and his team to come up with different ideas. Brian Brink is going to talk to you about the way corporations could help, and maybe someday that help could turn into some tax credits or benefits in case any of the companies would like to invest in those particular countries. So, like the real estate developers say, what are the first 3 important ingredients to a good real estate investment deal? Location, location, location. For us, it's Global Fund, Global Fund, Global Fund. So thank you all. We look forward to working with you. 4.4 million deaths of children that have to be averted by the end of 2015. And we look forward to working with you over the next 2 days and over then the next 959 days. Please join me in welcoming my co-chair, Aig-Imoukhuede.
Thank you, Ray. And it's great to welcome you, along with Ray, to our wonderfully hosted and arranged conference by a wonderful team of officials at GBCHealth. Every time I come here for this conference, I am always amazed and surprised at the efficacy and efficiency with which they put on this show. And I always look for the 100 or so people who probably are needed to put this together, and you'd be surprised that they're actually under 20. And I think they deserve a round of applause this early on. And even then, I need to, officially and formally recognize the presence here of two First Ladies, the First Lady of South Africa, Madam Zuma, and the First Lady of Zambia, Dr. Sata. Thank you for flying over here, and we look forward to your contributions. You've done great things in your countries, and I believe that many of us here can learn from you. We have ahead of us today, and indeed over the next 2 days, what promises to be quite an exciting and critical, if you like, evaluation of the global health issues that affect us at this time. And to my fellow member companies who have made the effort to attending this conference, I want to say that without you, GBCHealth would not exist. From personal experience, I know what it means to commit your time to this effort, and I know that the investment that you make is not without a cost. But it is an important decision to step up to the plate and address issues of health in the manner that we are as private sector individuals. It changes you, it's changed me definitely, and it changes your companies for the better. Because you choose to see mothers and children as they are human beings and not just as customers and consumers, you understand that you have at your disposal powerful tools to change and touch the lives of these people. It is good, of course, to have a great balance sheet, but I think it's a bit better to crown it with saving lives. Together, we hold the potential to give countless of individuals across the world, particularly where I come from in Africa, a new life, a new beginning, a life that is not one that is marked by affliction and poverty and suffering, misery and pain, but new hope, health, wealth, prosperity. And indeed, many of you here have witnessed firsthand the transformative influence of the private sector's dedication to health issues. Clinics are becoming empty, not because there are no drugs, but because there are fewer patients. Communities are reborn. Hope is restored. And there is actually an economic linkage between the work we do in the health space, changing lives in the health space, and economic prosperity of nations. Studies have shown that economies surge as their communities become healthier. Improvements in overall wealth and health and well-being leads to improvement in health. In Africa, many economies have grown at over 6% annually. And as we grasp a nation that healthier populations lead to more dynamic economies, it is one strong reason why, as private sector operators, we need to get more involved in health issues. The World Bank's Growth Commission has shared strong empirical evidence in Africa, linking investments in health and nutrition to improved productivity and development. Additionally, the World Bank's reports have shown that in East Asia, improvements in health have actually preceded spikes in economic expansion. So the data speaks for itself. If you invest in health, your economies will grow, and that growth in itself will fuel investments in infrastructure, education, and energy. Over the next 2 days, as we review our agenda at this conference, we have some enormous challenges to face. And with the deadline for the Health Millennium Development Goals looming on the horizon, we have a lot of work to do. As Ray has shown, we have fewer than 1,000 days to break the back of 3 diseases that have ensnared generations. We sit poised to deliver a future without malaria, HIV, and tuberculosis, a movement we have worked so hard to reach. We cannot squander this moment, and that is why it's important for the private sector to get involved in ensuring that the global funds replenishment, our target of $15 billion, is achieved. Also, with Ray's expanded role, we need to extend our momentum to address the 4.4 million lives in children and mothers. This is a very ambitious goal, and some might say overly ambitious. But this is why the private sector is needed, because the private sector is all about setting bold, hairy, and audacious goals. And I think together we will overcome the obstacles in this fight. In business, we are all pushing for innovation, and we are pushing through barriers that say this is not possible, and we make the impossible possible. And I can think of no greater opportunity for us to harness our resources and focus our attention than that of the Millennium Development Goals. Let us spend our time together focusing on our individual and collective strategies to put in place to save lives of 4.4 million children and 200,000 mothers. And let us return here next year with tangible results on our balance sheets. As I round up, I need to mention that at every conference, I allow myself a quota of 1 disappointment. And I think that at this conference, that quota has already been filled, because yesterday, Ray was kind enough to invite me to watch the New York Yankees play and win. And I got there a bit late, I think at the end of the first innings, and I saw what I assumed was a faulty scoreboard, but I think the Yankees were down 6-0 in the first inning. So that disappointment has done it for me, and I believe that over the next 2 days, this will be a hitch-free and very successful conference. Thank you very much. As I ask our acting CEO, Mr. Gary Cohen, to join us on the podium.